Welcome to FranklinCovey's Be a Better Leader series. I'm your host, Lena Rinne. I serve as the Senior Vice President of Professional Services and Client Facilitation for FranklinCovey. On this season of Be a Better Leader, we're talking all about how to amplify your organization's impact. At FranklinCovey, we help leaders develop the skills necessary to lead their teams to greatness. Many leaders have the technical skills that the role requires, but they lack the management and the motivational skills to lead others effectively. In this episode, we'll be talking about how to amplify your organization's impact as an unofficial project manager and how we drive collective action and deliver results. In today's world, everyone is an unofficial project manager at some point. We all have projects and deadlines we're trying to hit that directly impact our goals, and we're the ones that are coordinating and checking those boxes. So here with us today to talk about how we can continue to make the biggest impact in our organizations is FranklinCovey's Vice President of Content Development and co-author of Project Management for the Unofficial Project Manager, Kory Kogon. Kory, it is amazing to be with you today.
And you too, Lena. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Kory, it really is truly such a pleasure. So it's fair to say that virtually everyone in today's world has some element of their job that's about delivering projects, right? Because it's something that has a beginning and an end. You tie the bow, you submit it. So this isn't just about project management as much as it is about being unofficial project managers ourselves. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, certainly. It's such an important thing for leaders and everybody to understand is that we are all knowledge workers. We're paid to think, to innovate, create, and execute, and we make things. And over the last few years, through the pandemic and everything, we've had to reconfigure everything. And whether you are a formal leader or many people on your team that are either leaders as well or individual contributors, we have found that in many cases, 70 to 80% of their work is about projects. Most of my work is projects, and being, a part of content development. And if we look at our signature on our email, or if we still carry business cards, our title is not project manager.
That's right.
But it is the bulk of the work that we do. And the interesting thing, we've moved into being a project economy. Mm-hmm. And it's actually quite cool to be good at projects in this day and age, the amount of projects that are being done. And what the statistic that goes along with that is, as exciting as that is, project failure is very high. So high. In the 65% range. So for unofficial, for any project manager, but for unofficial project managers, you can imagine with not a lot of training, the failure rate is high, and that causes a lot of problems.
One thing you said that's resonating with me is I think sometimes as leaders, we don't even see what we're doing as projects. I mean, there's one thing to keep the engine running, and we just we're just running this engine. And I have a team of 100 that I lead. And I think before learning some of this content, I didn't even realize that much of the work I'm doing is projects. We just don't always even talk about it in those terms.
Yeah, right. We've evolved into project managers. And I like to say that we are scarred, unofficial project managers, because everybody on people's teams, leaders that are listening, you and your teams are very talented. That's why you give them these jobs to do. Lena, that's why you get things to do. It's like, let Lena do it. She can get it done. And you push through it. And what we've learned over the years is that the official project managers, the PMPs as they're known, have been trained in project management skills to some degree, and they're getting better trained in it today. But unofficial project managers have just pushed through with no training. So we're a little scarred. And once you learn some things, it really is amazing how you unleash potential of yourself and of people on your teams that are leading projects as well.
I definitely feel like I have some battle wounds myself from various projects. But one of the things I love about this is that it is a tangible, learnable set of skills. So I feel really grateful, Kory, you've mentored me in this and many other areas throughout my career, but let's get a little bit tactical. So with our limited time, we won't be covering all of the things, but let's go through a couple of things that as a leader, or even as we're calling it unofficial project manager, where do I start? What do I need to know? What are the highlights? Can you walk us through some of that?
Yes. So again, we don't have a lot of time without getting overly detailed here. What we've done is we've taken the best of both what is known as waterfall project management, which is if you're building a bridge, it's a waterfall, it's step to step to step, right? And agile project management. So if you think agile organization, a lot of the leaders, we need to be agile and all of that. We've taken the best of that to put it into a process that works for unofficial project managers. And it really starts with an overarching mindset or success formula that value plus people plus process equals success. And I mentioned the official project managers because a lot of, their learning would be process. And over the years now, it has had to be people. How do I engage people? And now, particularly with Agile, how many projects do we know that started that didn't finish or that were done without providing value to a company? Value is front and center key. So value plus people plus process is where we start.
And can I clarify for many of our listeners, perhaps that didn't know this as I did not. When we say agile, that's something that we often hear in the context of official project managers. But can you tell us does that just mean that we're dynamic and changing all the time? Help us define agile.
Good question. And so I mentioned the bridge, which is what, right? We know what the outcome, what a bridge is going to be. We deliver the product, it's done. With Agile, which actually came out because of software development, and if you know the term sprints, what it is they write code, they'll run it by the customer, they'll get feedback, they'll make changes, and they're building value as they go. So that they understand all of that by time they deliver the product. And so Agile is just being flexible, adapting to change, and working closely with your constituents to understand how to get to the best outcome, the highest value. So very flexible to get to the end of the project versus here's a scope, it can never change, and we're going to get, a product delivered.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me clarify. I think whether we are doing Agile or waterfall, there are some kind of key mindsets that we need to adopt as we're implementing on projects. And perhaps for Agile projects, it's more flexibility as well. Okay,
yeah,
so
and just so you know, we're not dealing with the software developers. That is, a whole nother area. Unofficial project managers like us, we're building marketing campaigns and learning and development programs and new processes for a remote workforce and stuff like that. So it's a little different. So that's why we use the best of both waterfall and Agile.
That's it. Thank you, Kory. Okay, so you gave us the formula, important place to start. If we look at the process piece, again, this is where many of us as unofficial project managers just have no process, right? We're tracking it in Excel, we're making sticky notes, we're trying to follow up by email. Give us the key overview, what's the big picture thinking around process that we should be aware of as unofficial project managers?
Okay, so I will do that. And so again, we're always thinking about value. Why does this project why does this project matter to the company? People, I need to have informal authority to have people volunteer their best efforts to the project, and then the process that works through. So the process that we use, and by the way, don't sell yourself short because we intuitively do this sometimes, but we put labels to it, we give it names. So we need to scope the project. We need to talk to key stakeholders. We need to have clarity around what the project is, get good at asking questions, really, so we get real clarity on what it's going to be. And then the second step is we need to plan. We need to understand and uncover all of our risks. And what you're referring to with the sticky notes in Excel is we need a project schedule. I strongly encourage people, we're not going to do it here, leaders to learn the project management principles around dependencies and durations. They're not hard, but everybody's in Excel because they don't know those principles. And once you get good at understanding that and you use a project management software, anyone you want, it allows you to strategically manage that project to a good soft landing. Really amazing. So we need to plan. The third step, and this is where Agile really comes into play, is engage. That we need to engage our people, right? And how do we, when we say there's 5 behaviors, you need to demonstrate respect, you need to clarify expectations, you need to extend trust, you need to practice accountability, and I left one out, but there are 5. But you need to listen, a lot of people never want you to be in leadership, and there's a lot of leadership behaviors out there, and our feeling is if you can just, master or get really good at these 5, you really will invite people to the party in a way that they're going to want to work with you. And so we need to engage people who really want to give the best to the project. And then the next step is track and adapt. Agile, change. There's going to be changes. We need to have feedback loops along the way. So we're making sure we get the feedback that we need and not go crazy with change, but make sure that we're doing the changes that provide value. And then last step, we must close the project. So if you've ever worked on a project that started and never ended, you know what I'm talking about. But we need to close the project. We need to celebrate success. We need to document lessons learned and archive everything. So next time we start that project, we have an excited team that wants to work on it, and we're not starting from scratch. So that's the process.
It's amazing. Thank you for the quick overview. Again, I think what's brilliant about it is you've developed, it is simple and it's something you can learn, like the skills are learnable. And yet it's really what drives the project success. Again, when you mentored me on this to begin with, it was night and day difference in how I was delivering, even with some of the simple things you mentioned. Not everyone starts a project with the key stakeholders identified or interviewed. So it's these small things. And of course, in the book and in the work session that we offer, you go into a lot more depth, but just really meaningful to get the overview.
Good.
So thank you, Kory, for being with us today. It's always such a pleasure. Thanks for all the great work that you're doing.
Well, thank you. And thanks for doing this. And I hope we helped amplify our organizations out there. So thanks, Lena.
Thank you. Successful project management is about getting people to work together and volunteer their best efforts. When leaders incorporate project management best practices as part of their own strategy, they achieve consistent and exceptional results. Thank you for joining us today. For more helpful resources, visit us at FranklinCovey.com.